everybody's favorite podcast about an obscure 2000s X-Files clone from Fox. Desert Squid. I'm Alice Water. My co-host Ludovico. And
yes, I'm here.
And today we have a special guest.
Hello, I'm Arlo. I am from Manila, and I'm a what I'd say artist, writer, somewhere in between those those two things.
Nice. Yeah, we're very happy to welcome you to the Desert Squid podcast today.
Thank you for having me on. I'm looking forward to talking about this. Is that what I would say?
Yes, this is gonna be a juicy episode, I think.
Yes.
So why not get to the episode recap so the listeners know what we're talking about. Mm-hmm. We start the episode with a mother and her kid, Sam, witnessing some sort of paranormal event in a diner that leaves everybody besides them dead. Soon after that event, the kid starts to act strange, which leads to the mother seeking professional help through a specialist, which in turn brings in Chloe for help.
Derek gets wind of the case and starts investigating on his own, thereby endangering Chloe's career. After talking to the kid and investigating both the diner and the warehouse, they found out that Sam is possessed by a Filipino shadow vampire that feeds on humans every full moon for seeking a new host. The psychologist who brought in Chloe is not convinced and threatens to sue Chloe for a non-professional conduct before she gets almost saddled. This is our part?
Yes.
Now?
Yes, Sam ends up in a hospital before he promptly escapes it because it's a full moon and the shadow vampire wants to eat, so he ends up at some high school prom night. The Freaky Links crew manages to save everybody and free the kid by luring the shadow vampire back into the box which it was trapped in before, which they turn into a piece of furniture. The end.
Incredible.
Powerful episode.
Yeah, this changed my life. So why don't we just start with you, Arlo? Because I think you're gonna have the most interesting things to say.
We can like go through we can like walk through this episode, but the beginning is definitely like was interesting. I'd say like everyone getting blasted by this shadow demon while this mom and her kid sit in a diner bathroom. I was like, okay, this is interesting.
Yeah, it's a good hook. I'd say it's a pretty good hook.
And then you just like get like some real good early 2000s bits in it. With Derek and Chloe. I actually don't know what Derek and Chloe's relationship in this whole thing is. I don't know if they are romantically involved or anything, but it's like, okay.
They are romantic involved.
It's like a love triangle thing. Like it's like a will they won't they thing between Chloe and Derek and Lan, who is very shortly in this episode.
Yeah. It's like, okay, I get this is like early 2005. I watched 24 once upon a time. This is not too far off from what I would see. And then they start doing the I actually don't recall what the whole handheld video thing is at the beginning, where they interviewed this dude, where they find out like his car is leaving the faces of the biblical apostles on his driveway. And it's like, what's up with this?
Yeah,
what's going on?
So there's actually some context that every episode has like a scene of them talking to some random people about the case, but the one in this episode has less to do with the actual episode than most of the ones, because most of the ones tend to actually at least tie thematically or like just to the thing that's being said with this.
Yeah, I think the thing that they're trying to communicate there is that basically Derek and the Freaky Links crew, they don't have like any good leads right now to follow through like to interesting cases. So they have to talk like to the guy who has the apostles in his driveway because like that's the best they can get right now. Like it's basically a joke.
Okay, yeah, I enjoyed this bit a little. I was like, okay, the handheld stuff is kind of nostalgic for me. This is like good quality, good shit quality handheld footage.
Yeah, you can tell that this is the people who did the Blair Witch Project. Like,
Yeah.
that's because of that they do it a lot. I mean, basically every episode there's handheld segments.
Yeah. And then I guess we get into Chloe going to Sam, the kid, and I forget the mom's name, but
I too. I haven't noted it anywhere.
yeah. How does Chloe get jobs? Is Chloe part of the Free Killings crew?
She basically freelances for the Free Killings crew, but her main job is like psychiatrist.
Okay.
So there's like a conflict, a professional conflict between those two sides of her, which explains a lot of the episode, I think.
Yeah, okay. This is definitely explains some middle parts of this episode, but yeah, they it's mostly nothing. It's like the scenes of this kid sitting around a circle of lamps, with the lampshade taken off, and it's like, okay, sure. I don't know where this is going. So this is where I'm like, when Alice told me about this, I said I have never heard of this monster, but I might read up and try to brush up on my Filipino folklore, just figure out maybe they're basing this off of something. So it's like, okay, I'll let this episode happen. Then we go to Jason and Derek at the diner. Where Derek like talks about, hey, I got this new lead about this thing, which he doesn't know it's related to Chloe's thing as well. And then they go to they go to that dude who runs. I wrote this down: sickanddisgusted.com.
Basically rotten, but like off-brand rotten. Yeah.
I wrote this down. This dude is just like early 2000s tropes in a white man, and it was like, okay, yeah. The funniest thing I think for me is when he says it's $6.75 per download. It's like, damn, you're charging $6.75 just for snuff films. Okay.
Yeah, he definitely
how does he get paid without getting shut down by the FBI?
I don't know, like, this is a weird world where, like, people can hack everything and just technology bends to the will of the plot.
That's true. I mean, he does have an "and" in his URL, which I think would break any website.
Okay.
You go to.
Yeah, true.
This is, I think, where it gets really interesting for me, because this guy has footage of the diner, CCTV footage of the diner, with the incident in question, and shows the guy that we mentioned at the beginning of this episode, where that dies like paranormally, and he starts saying something, and
Yeah.
I think it probably goes to show like how much David S. Goyer and everyone involved is putting into the effort they're putting into to getting stuff accurate, because I could not understand that thing that dude said. I could not understand a single word.
I'm not sure if it's actually like Spanish, because like later we learned that the dock worker is like a Mexican guy, I think.
Yeah. I think we'll get to like how I understand what this man is screaming in the diner, but I did write down the thing the guy running sickanddisgusted.com says, which was famous last gibberish of one crazy bastard. And I think later on I go, yeah, you know what? This is not inaccurate. This is also the funniest line in this episode. This is not inaccurate to what this man says.
So he basically had it. He knew what was up.
He knew, that guy probably spoke Tagalog, probably, because he couldn't understand a lick of what he was talking about.
So yeah. Alice, what do you think about the rotten guy, the sick and disgusted guy?
Me?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's just a very amazing scene because this guy just has the energy of want to see some snuff? I got some snuff. Do you know that I got some model tapes? It's just the most early 2000s jazzy stuff. I love it.
Yeah.
The guy has an energy to him.
He lives with his mom.
Yeah. It's he's basically a prototype for a 4chaner. He's a few years too early to join 4chan.
Yeah, he's just I just live with my mom, they sell snuff tapes.
But ahead of his time, he was basically running OnlyFans for snuff tapes.
Yeah, a pioneer.
Yeah, truly. Probably made $1 million later on.
Yeah, snuff millionaire.
Yeah, friends at game.com.
Yeah. And I guess we get to the next part, which is Derek meeting the kid. I just wrote down the notes. His outfit is so funny. His long shorts and fucking Etnies shirt. This is
he looks like a real 2001 skater boy.
He looks like yes. This is a man you make in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3. This is the outfits from Pro Skater.
Yeah. All it needed was some okay, we're gonna put some Goldfinger, put some less than start playing.
There's a good early 2000s music in this episode too. I was just
definitely.
Yeah. Here's fake Stacy's mom. Thank you, Freaky Links.
Yeah, at the end of the episode, Alice is gonna tell us about the artists in this episode,
yes.
The music artists.
Because here's the thing with this show. That's also amazing. The show was also made so back in the day, to accents like the Blair Witch People site, you could buy the music that was in every episode of the show, because the show, along with being a weird X-Files clone that also had its own website that was a Blair Witch thing, also was a thing to sell music and to market artists and labels.
Yeah, this was just a vehicle also to promote different artists that were more or less famous. So it's really a real Fox 2001 show. It's really of its time.
Some really good .com bubble vibes from this.
Definitely.
This is where Derek meets the kid, finds out Chloe's also working with this kid. And they talk. Chloe's pissed off because you're jeopardizing my profession, and I recall Derek saying, "Well, Clinton survived." I was like, "This guy sucks."
Yeah, you're right. This isn't even one of the episodes where he touches corpses evidence, before calling the police or anything. He just touches corpses.
We have a running joke in the podcast about we just ring a bell every time Derek touches a corpse in the show, because it happens almost literally every episode. It's amazing.
Yeah,
not here though. There was no corpse. There was no corpse to touch.
Yeah, he would touch it, but it's not there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Derek for you. He's an asshole, and then once or twice an episode he does something okay, and that should redeem him, I guess, in our eyes.
I don't think he does enough. I was like, okay, thanks, bro.
Yeah, he's a real 90s TV character.
Yeah, this is everything about the show is this Derek, his whole Etnies shit, and him on a skateboard.
He really looked.
Saw the X Games once.
In this episode, he really gives me the energy of the guy who used to beat me up at school, just the skater boy that thinks he's really cool.
Oh yeah, but he's not. It's okay. I don't know why this kid connects with Derek. I guess it's because it's the kid sees another dude, on a skateboard and probably thinks he's Tony Hawk. Probably mistakes him for Tony Hawk too.
Yeah, this was before nobody remembered who Tony Hawk is, and so nobody recognized him. This was when everybody thought everybody with a skateboard is Tony Hawk.
Yeah, for sure. And then I think this is the part where Derek gets a call from, I forgot what the lady's name was. I don't know what her relationship is with the freak.
I think it's Lan.
Yeah.
Lan, she's basically the hacker of the group.
Yeah. She is the hacker. So this is where it starts to dawn on me what the dude in the diner says. The Filipino guy in the diner says. So when Chloe goes to this kid's house, he starts like screaming, he's hungry, and then when I hear what the hacker lady says, that's when I realize what they're saying. But it's just really botched. Like they could have not have botched this any worse. But basically they were saying gutom siya. It's not gudam siya. That sounds to something else.
So it's like not very well pronounced.
It's not very well pronounced, which is why my mind went to a lot of different things when they viewed the footage. Is because I was thinking, is this just some other language from the country that I don't know? But then I thought, no, a lot of words, even words in other languages that aren't Tagalog that are from here, they'll sound similar, but this I was like, is he speaking Japanese? Is he speaking something else? Is he speaking like a Southern Asian language? That was my whole thought. And it took like half the episode for me to realize, like, oh, this is what this person is saying. It took me contextual situation with Sam yelling he's hungry to realize what was going on. It doesn't end there. The lady says it's the indigenous language of the Philippines, and I was like, motherfucker, there's a lot of languages here. Tagalog is not the only one.
It's the indigenous language. There's no other ones.
Yeah, there's no other one. They don't speak any other language in the Philippines. They definitely don't. I'm the only one that speaks English here. Everyone else just Tagalog. She used her message like, yeah, this is the indigenous language of the Philippines. And I was like, no, there's a lot of languages here. That's why I spent 5 minutes thinking about what that dude in the diner was saying.
Yeah, because it could be like all kinds of different languages.
Yeah, and that's when I started thinking, damn, does David S. Goyer know where the Philippines is? Like, if you gave him a map, could he point on the map where the Philippines is? And I think my answer to that is no.
Also, just for a detail, like this show had like wildly different writers, and I think S. Goyer was only like credited as a producer after the first episode. Like he was only really involved in the first episode.
Okay. So he's like, oh, I'm just gonna attach my name to this. I was like on Blair Witch. Maybe this show takes off.
Yeah, he basically, I think he realized that this would not go anywhere, and like he was right.
And it's like, oh, okay, I gotta get out. Okay, it's good. It's good I did not attach myself to any writing credits.
He even used a wrong name on the writing credits, and it's like a Hispanic name, so that makes it like double yikes.
Yeah, the language, how they pronounce, like, this is also like very, very basic stuff. Like gutom siya, they pronounce it like gudam siya. And I was like, you tell that to any Tagalog speaker and see if they understand what the fuck you're trying to say.
Yeah, that's about what we like expected. That's why we brought you on. We knew like this shit can't be real. This has to be like weirdly taken out of context and all that.
That was also what I was thinking. I was like, this is probably something I'm not aware of. I am not aware of all the folklore here. Just things I've been told by, like stories I've been told by relatives and family and everything. But then when they get into the details of it, that's when it starts getting very weird. Where it's like, no, they just invented this. I don't know which Filipino friend the writers had that they decided, oh, okay, let's go with this. That writer's probably like, your country probably has some freaky shit in it, huh?
Some freaky links.
Yes, for sure. Uh, so after this, I think they figure out what the monster is. They don't actually give the monster a name, which is interesting. They just call it like a shadow vampire,
Yeah.
which this is the first time I've ever heard of anything like that.
I think that made us also believe that it has to be fake because they don't even. It doesn't even have like a name in a Filipino language.
Yeah. I need to remember how they pronounce aswang. Aswang. I think that's how they pronounce it. They attach it to that. So aswang is like a very general term for folk monsters here. I will give them this. They are right in that aswang. That when people talk about aswang here, it is generally vampiric. They generally have vampiric traits to them. Like I think the most famous example would be like the manananggal, which is a monster. Is like a human that can separate in half. Like the other half separates from the lower half, and the upper half like flies in the night and hunts people in their sleep and like eats their internal organs. Like that's what manananggal is. But there is no shadow vampire. There is no shadow vampire. I can confirm this.
Wow. Are you telling me that the X-Files clone from the 2000s made up the shadow vampire?
Yeah, wild American TV show just decided we're gonna make up this thing on the spot and attach it to this culture.
Freaky links debunked.
Yes, this is Freaky Links Cinema Sins podcast. Welcome.
Ding.
Ding.
Filipino shadow vampires don't even exist. Ding.
And also the other weird part is that I think this is probably true in a lot of other folklore, but we don't keep anything locked away in boxes. A lot of monsters usually, like, how they're told they live among us. So the part where the monster traveled to America on a box was very strange to me too. I also wish like I could have seen what was written on the box because because the hacker lady like just relays the translation from her quote unquote Filipino friend about the whole thing. Which was okay. Don't
the
get
problem
boxes
is
like this.
We don't know if like high resolution versions of these episodes even exist.
Well,
so, I mean they existed but got taken down, and then there's a bootleg DVD version. As you can like hear, we did a lot of research about this show to like find maybe a higher res version. But
there's like somebody that just used to upload like HD 40K remaster of the show, but the thing is that person also would put in like the source commercials and everything. So I think just the YouTube copyright noticed it and like deleted the entire channel.
Oh.
Yeah. It wasn't 4K. It was like 1080p.
Yeah, I'm just.
But it was very funny that they got taken down not because of the show, but because of some ad in the ribs.
Probably musics.
But yeah, we can't find out what is written on there because we literally don't have access to a like high resolution enough version to see what's written on there.
Yeah, it's tragic. I like paused the video multiple times, just like squinting, trying to make out something on the box. I don't think there's anything written on there, but I would have loved to have read it and see what sort of Tagalog butchery they would have done. There's also like the era before Google Translate, so I do wonder what the translation would be like.
True.
Yeah, that's a very interesting point.
Yeah, I wish we could find out, but like we would have to like contact the makers of the show at this point, and even they wouldn't have
David
the
Escoyer,
info.
call me.
Yeah, call us, David Escoyer. Give us the intel.
Yeah.
Give us the hot Freaky Links trivia. Come on.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's another
so-
chapter in the deep lore that we're never gonna find out all the mysteries of Freaky Links.
Yeah, for sure. So it's funny. This isn't the first time I have seen like Filipino folklore monsters be referenced in American TV. This is definitely the worst, for sure. I think both of you are aware of Grimm, that cop show with
I know.
with like various folk monsters in it. So there was like one episode I remember when they used like Filipino monsters, but it was actually like it worked. It was pretty alright. And I think that was like because one of the actors, Reggie Lee, is, I think he's half Filipino, or he was born here, but he plays like the role of the cop in that show. He's like sidekick cop who gives the two main characters the lowdown on the cases. But yeah, they like built something off of that, of him being Filipino, and I think he like got retconned into being a Filipino dude because he's called Lee in that show, and you know how Americans are with regards to Asian characters in TV.
Yeah.
But I thought like, it's nice that Reggie Lee just gets to do actual Tagalog on American TV. That's kind of nice, I guess. It wasn't strong impression, but it wasn't strong portrayal of Filipino folk monsters, but it was all right given what we've talked about the last half hour.
Yeah, it sounds a lot better than what we got here, which is just invent shit and like do bad pronunciations of words.
Yeah. And I think this will like take us to the end of this episode where so like before that, the psychologist that brought Chloe in doesn't believe what Chloe is saying, that there's a fucking shadow monster that's killing this kid and wants to kill them.
I mean, which is very normal. I think if somebody tells you there's a shadow monster, you probably
Yeah.
wouldn't like instantly think, yeah, that's real shit.
Yeah. Especially if you like, if that psychologist is Filipino, that she would have been like, "What the fuck are you talking about? It's shadow monster."
That would have been amazing.
I would have been very funny. But yeah, Sam gets admitted to a hospital, breaks out of the hospital, goes to this. I don't know why high schools are right next to major city hospitals, but okay, I don't know how American cities work.
Yeah, zoning is wild in America. That's all I know about America. Like, they just throw shit next to each other, even if it has, like, no sense to it.
Yeah, it's just a hospital combination, high school prom night thing.
Like, I literally read an article this year about, like, an old person in an old people's home that fell into an alligator pond that was next to the old people's home. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's how American zoning works.
Yeah.
People just don't give a fuck.
I was super confused too. Like, I thought, is this actually a prom thing or is this just like a dance? Because like, there's a dude that goes to the hospital, is like throwing up, and I don't know. I feel like if you have too much to drink at a prom, that's not a prom anymore. That's just a club or whatever.
Maybe somebody like spiced up the what
punch.
it's called, the punch.
Yeah, and the kid goes to the prom, the convenient prom next door,
And
like,
nobody is weirded out by a kid being at a prom.
is in like a full hospital getup, or was he? I think he was in his pajamas. Like, no one is batting an eye at this kid. at all.
Good teachers, probably, in that school.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and Shadow Vampire almost sicks the whole high school. But who else is there to save the day but one Derek in his Epi shirt still? And Chloe almost becomes the Shadow Vampire, which damn Shadow Vampire sounds cool, but in this case it's not actually cool. It's kind of it's kind of real boring.
Yeah, it's underwhelming.
It's very underwhelming. They point light at the Shadow Vampire. Derek points a huge spotlight on Chloe, that then scares the Shadow Vampire Alan Wake style into back into the box.
Alan Wake is just a Freaky Links ripoff.
That's true.
Wow.
That's true.
Well,
And let's talk about like what they do to the box.
Yeah.
It's a lot. This is a lot.
This show can be like very comedic and self-aware, but in some situations it's very not aware of like some things it does, like in the context of the Shadow Vampire that's totally invented. But then at the end it does like a funny thing. So I'm not sure. I think they were aware how like hilarious and weird that is. The whole cementing the box in and then using it as a stand for a lamp.
A lamp with flame print on it, by the way. This is just how you know this is from the 2000s, I guess.
It's almost cool. It's amazing it wasn't like one of those lava lamps.
Yeah.
yeah, the Filipino Shadow Vampire box just beneath the median lava lamps. That would be good. No?
That would be funny. It would have been funny. Do they do this for every episode? Like, if they, I don't know, trap the creature in the box, do they just cement over that box and then put a flame print table lamp on it?
They would have so many like boxes with flame lamps on it by now.
Yeah, that's what I want.
Just a room full of them, and then they sell them.
Yeah. In the case of like what I saw in this, maybe I don't want that box to come back here. Maybe I just want it to stay over there. It should stay in Los Angeles with the Freaky Links crew.
Yeah, this is the one case where stealing stuff from other cultures was actually good.
It's like I was like, yeah, no, you can keep it. You made it. You keep it.
Yeah, it's not even from your culture. It's just like stuff they made up about your culture.
Look. The U.S. has a thing of attaching a lot of shit to the Philippines, but they can have this one.
Yeah, I'm sure this was like never aired in the Philippines.
I don't think, again, this I only heard of the show when Alice talked about it. I'm surprised that it never actually got aired here, because this seems like something that would have been so cheap to just put on free TV here. Where they were like, I don't know, Fox would have just said, yeah, whatever, have it. If this gets big in your country, maybe we'll start charging you for it.
I think it didn't run long enough to like reach syndication length.
Yeah, also the thing with it is this show was cancelled. It was cancelled 2 times because I think it was halfway to even this episode. It got cancelled. Somehow the queue managed to get the remaining episodes out, and then it got cancelled again.
Yeah, it got basically put on a break and then came back after they gauged interest, and then they just ran the rest of the episodes.
Yeah, I don't know. I hope at the time, film crews were unionized at the time. Hopefully they got paid for this garbage. They got paid well for this garbage.
This is a Fox show, so there's no guarantee that anybody got their money.
Yeah, that's true. David S. Goyer probably got his money though.
Yeah, and the Blair Witch people.
Yeah.
Was this what in the timeline of things that David S. Goyer headed? What was this like his first thing on TV? Just like, or had he been on TV for a while?
I think
That's a good question.
I think this was. I need to look, but I think this was actually. This was actually 2 years after, like 2 years after. No, 2 years after his biggest two producing works at the time, which was Blade 1 and Dark City.
Huh. Whoa. Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah, so he was an established name at that point.
He did some TV work, but it was small, mostly like he did like two X-Files clones before it, and so he was a producer in the 90s, Nick Fury pilot with David Hasselhoff.
Wait,
Nice.
David Hasselhoff was Nick Fury? Yeah, I can see it.
Oh yeah, I remember that he was Nick Fury.
Yeah, that was produced by Goyer.
I think the thing about Goyer, like, he's already flawed in movies, but like in TV, he's like the flaws stand out even more of his style.
Yeah.
I think that's why he never really made it in like the television field.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, I guess like when you're doing movies, you got a lot of hands going into the writing process where your faults are definitely less accentuated. Whereas this is like, yes, this is him. This is him. Like, this is pure David S. Goyer.
Yeah, he basically established the tone of the show, and then the Blair Witch Project people took it into more interesting directions. But like, it's hard to fix it when David S. Goyer basically laid the baseline for how the characters work and all that shit. Like, it's basically already rotten. You're cooking with rotten apples at that point.
Yeah. So you mentioning the Blair Witch people, now I'm like thinking, wait, I know that there's like a connection between Blair Witch and this thing Alice and I are definitely fascinated about, which is the Metallica documentary. I think some kind of monster. Yeah.
Oh yes, I am
Which is
also
its own share of disaster.
yeah. I am also a scholar of that movie.
Oh.
Yeah, I forgot that like Goyer was involved in that.
Oh no, I mean like I think some of the Blair Witch people are involved in some kind of monster. Yeah, that's why I
didn't
remember.
know.
So you just had like a really stellar run of early 2000s media between Freaky Links and Metallica, some kind of monster.
Yeah, we just
The documentary about everyone's favorite Metallica album, Saint Anger.
yeah.
I can hear the drums when you say Saint Anger. Like, I can hear them every time.
Saint Anger, he gets no respect.
Alice, tell us about the music. I'm very fascinated by this.
Before we get to the music, I want to ask Alice for her opinion on the episode.
Yes.
Yeah. My opinion is this may be one of the show's worst episodes. For various reasons, the acting is horrible even for this show. I was like the kid actor was a kid actor, but the kid cannot act.
It's just a very annoying kid too. Like,
He really can't act.
That's a slight thing, but I looked up the kid actor, and apparently he was in like the first X-Men movie and a couple like American sitcoms, and then disappeared. I cannot find any info on him post like 2006.
Real child actor career.
Yeah, I probably went to Manila and got claimed by Shadow Monster that we don't know about.
Yeah.
Well, the Filipino side of Vampire Strikes Again.
I guess he's real after all.
We finally got him.
But yeah, the acting is pretty horrible. The tone in this is very very weird for the show because Freaking tends to have more of a comedic tone and everything. This is just very much like, oh, we're trying to be deep and edgy and do a kind of weird abuse metaphor also with the kid and his family, and it's just a mess.
This is probably like the second edgiest episode of the show. Like the one where later on with the reanimator guy guest appearance is probably the most edgy one.
Oh yeah, the motorbikers one.
Because that's the one that has the metal soundtrack.
Yeah,
and like all kinds of weird shit.
Yeah, like with slow flying Fear Factory.
Yeah, where they like cut out the fuck yous. Yeah, there is. So let's get to the music.
Oh yeah, but yeah, point. This episode it's very bad. But yeah, musical corner. So the thing with Freaklings is that along with being X-Files clone, a show that had its own website that had lore about the show, it was also a musical promotion thing. So we have this corner in the podcast talking about this because it's just amazing because a lot of the bands here are basically tend to be like C-listers or like Z-listers. Most people don't tend to like, there tend to be not a lot of like information on them. Sometimes it's like a famous famous like band or act or anything like. We put like those episodes like De La Soul and like Cat Power and stuff like that. But besides, it tends to be just obscure people who tend to have weird stuff. There was a time when me and Luda found out about the guy who was a member of a band that was in the show, whose wife is a Russian nationalist.
Yeah, there were some discoveries to be made.
Yeah, we go. There's three bands this episode. First, we have the Pixel. This is literally the band I can find the least of, because all I can find is a Discog space that says the Pixel funk hip hop rock band from Los Angeles. Band members include Holland Gecko on vocals, Derek Godwin on guitar, Axe Painter on bass, and Gabriel Fontwolan on drummers and percussion. Known for throwing amazing house parties in Quancy Concerto Festival, the band has made some amazing music, including the video for Stupid Little Fellow.
So they were at Coachella, but nobody knows who they are and remembers them anymore.
This is the kind of people that are in Freaklings.
Yeah. They were like known for 5 minutes and then nobody ever heard of them again.
Yeah, they had a song sung to our in the start of the episode, I think. The other two bands. Now we're gonna go into some more weirdness. So one of the bands in this that does a metal kind of song is the band Word Crisis. I'm so surprised to see Word Crisis in the soundtrack for this. So Word Crisis are a 90s like hardcore punk band from New York, known for being like incredibly like pro animal liberation. Like
they're vegetarians as far as I know.
Yeah, they did songs about like breaking into like laboratories to rescue animals and stuff like that.
And their song is played in the snuff film guy's room, which makes no fucking sense in context. Like, that's two very different forms of like metal. Like, he would listen to like 6 Feet Under or Cannibal Corpse at this time. He wouldn't be listening to like animal rights activism hardcore punk.
Yeah. What questions are actually pretty known for creating everybody. Let's talk. This is gonna have to go into a side bit into everybody's favorite thing: metal subgenres. Earth Crisis are the creators of metalcore, with the fusion of metal and hardcore punk. We're not creators, but like one of the most influential bands in the genre. They still are touring, doing like a lot of hardcore punk bands and stuff like that. I think I remember this, but I think the Fall Out Boy drummer once did a show with them.
Nice.
Huh.
Yeah, but the Earth Crisis are pretty cool. Like I used to listen to them quite a bit. Like, probably one of the best acts for me personally in the entire show.
Yeah, pretty good. Probably also one of the better acts from that New York's 90s scene. It's filled by interesting people. And then we had one more act, the band The Sal. With Sal.
With fake Stacy's mom.
Yeah, with fake Stacy's mom. This is like, I just read this Wikipedia. Sal is an American rock band from Los Angeles, California, United States. Utse vooral lead vocals en gitaar. Daniel Cannon vocals and guitars. Jeff Solomon on bass and Steven Coulter on drums. They have released 2 major label studio albums, 2 EPs and a self-released demo collection, citing their primary influence as Guns N' Roses and the Monkees. That's music is a hybrid of glam rock, power pop, gala rock, punk rock,
I respect
rock,
it.
and bubblegum
I respect
music.
it.
The
Someone
Monkees
said,
and Guns N' Roses.
Let's make a mashup of GNR and the Monkees. This will go all right.
This is the hot new shit.
Yeah, everybody go. So looking up on this Wikipedia page was a time. The first 2 album was produced by Rob Cavallo, i.e. the guy that basically discovered Green Day.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense why they sound like this pop punkish.
Yeah.
Yeah. The apparently also looking up the one of James Gunn's the Guardians of the Galaxy guys previous movies before Guardians of the Galaxy was a thing called Super. It was just like a movie about like a superhero that kills people. They had a song in that. They also did songs for Veronica Mars and CSI. And the classic hit movie American Psycho 2, which is a weird movie that I saw. It has almost nothing to do with American Psycho, but William Satter saw in that movie.
But that means they actually had quite a career with like scores for movies or shows.
Yeah, they
TV,
had they actually had some songs in like even some like games. They had like a song in like the PSP and like they had a song like Burnout Revenge.
Oh.
No,
yeah, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Now I'm thinking about this. I wonder how many bands out there just made their living not really like creating original music for themselves, but were basically just like rock bands for TV. Like I'm thinking about that. Because it sounds like a band that just cut their teeth on being soundtracks for TV and movies.
Yeah, I can imagine that those bands don't start out that way, but maybe they find like a way into that business and then it just becomes their thing.
Yeah, like you want to be the new Beatles, but you end up just being the band that songs are used for like 50 cop shows with the same plot.
Yeah, that's very much because like the music business is fucked and it was already fucked at the 2000s, start of the 2000s. So like I can imagine that this is basically your best option at that point for some bands.
Yeah,
like,
for
just
sure.
get into TV business.
Yeah, like this is the way you get work. It's just you go show up on TV.
Yeah. Just have to take to the CSI soundtrack minus.
But yeah, this was very interesting. Thank you very much for dropping by, Arlo.
Thank you for
we
having
learned
me.
a lot today.
Yeah. I think like my final note, I guess, is like I have not watched this show, but very recently there's an anime on Netflix that came out called Trese, Trese, which is based off a comic book that was made here about Filipino folklore monsters. So that might be something worth checking out. after seeing this episode, if you kind of want to wash away the bad taste a bit.
I might think about that, and it's a good recommendation for our listeners.
Yeah. But yeah, thanks for being. Every time before we end the podcast, we do just a little thing of like where you can find us. Like how you can find me on at Twitter at Alice Queen of War, Twitter at Alice Wood of Water. Ludo, where you can find you?
My Street Fighter CFN is Ludovico_LTD. If you want to fight me, not in real life, but like virtual life, you can send me a friend request there or just an invite. I'm gonna fight you. So yeah, that's what I have.
You can find me at Manila Burning on Twitter. I tweet about sports a lot. That's what I'll say.
Thanks.
Thanks everybody for listening, and see you all next time.
Conrad, the TV's busted again. Fix it now.
In a minute, mother.